everyone. I'm Zoe from the ONEtribe team, and today I'm going to talk about altar making as a spiritual practice. From the elaborate temples of our modern age to the first carved figurines of prehistory, altar making has emerged as a natural expression of our collective spirituality. It really is as old as spirituality itself, and it is a beautiful way to connect with God and Goddess alike. I first learned about making altars by watching my mother, who, I have to say, has quite a talent for it. Growing up, I was enchanted by tables of colorful cloth, golden sunflowers, hand-painted icons, and ornate smoking censers. My mother came from a Greek Orthodox background, but her deeply ethnic spirit led her to explore a multitude of traditions. In particular, she felt called to explore Santeria, a spiritual tradition whose roots originated in Africa and developed in South America, where it mixed with Catholicism. Thus, altar making became a tradition in our home, and our home altar became an eclectic mix of Christian saints, Hindu gods, and West African deities. In particular, my mother fell deeply in love with the goddess, specifically with Oshun, the Yoruba river goddess of love, beauty, and abundance. And so, Oshun became the patron deity of our home. Since then, the goddess's energy has permeated my life in powerful ways, like an ever-flowing current which continues to bring healing and blessings. Perhaps it was this very same African goddess that led me to move from America all the way to Africa. So I can say with confidence that altar making has a profound effect on consciousness in truly surprising ways. As for my mother's altars, I will always remember the warmth, beauty, and magic they brought into our home. It is something I am truly grateful to her for bringing into my life. Now I make an altar wherever I stay, and I can scarcely imagine a home without one. But okay, what exactly is an altar for? I'm sure many people will have different definitions and viewpoints on that, but I will offer you my perspective. At its simplest, an altar is a celebration of the divine. It is a way of saying, God is here. Of course, God is everywhere. But when you are making an altar, you are declaring that this spot here is especially a sacred space. In fact, the very process of making an altar will connect you to your inner creative genius, your greater divine self, and your vast unconscious self. It also connects you to your inner spiritual magician, because the altar, besides being a sacred space, is also a tool for enacting spiritual magic, in other words, for creating your reality. So how does this work exactly? Well, when you intentionally create an altar, you are busy making meaning, and meaning making is magic making. You are signaling to the universe, divine self, your larger unconscious self, through the use of symbolism, what it is you want to create. Now, if you'd like to understand more about how this spiritual magic works, we cover it in Dreamer Awake 2.0 in the tribe, which is opening again for registration this October. Wink, wink, hint, hint. So each item you choose to place in your altar carries with it a special symbolic meaning, and therefore a spark of creator energy. When you create an altar space, you weave together many symbolic items that share a resonance of meaning based on your intentions. The density of meaning creates a synergistic effect. Basically, those little charges of energy become a bigger wave that makes ripples in your reality. Another way of thinking about it is like this. Think of each symbolic item you place on your altar as being like a music note. You carefully choose each note to represent exactly the energies you want to highlight in your life. When your altar is done, the music notes come together in a song that resonates with your intention, and that song reverberates out into all of creation. So, what song will you sing? Before we get into the altar making process, I'd like to talk about all the ways in which you might use your altar. You can use your altar for many purposes. Most commonly, the energy of the altar is used to bless the home, the land, and the family. It is also generally used to invoke a particular aspect of God into your life, so that you may both commune with that energy and benefit from its blessings. The power of this is not to be understated. I can tell you firsthand that the most significant spiritual experience of my life happened in meditation in front of my mother's Oshun altar. It was my first fully embodied experience of unity consciousness, and it changed the course of my life. So, meditating, praying, chanting, and other forms of spiritual practice at your altar, I can highly recommend. An altar can also be used for manifestation, to bring blessings into your life, be it love, good health, abundance, wealth, healing, or spiritual growth. You can also place items or substances on the altar to be blessed. For example, pictures of loved ones, special crystals or talismans, sacred libations, or the cookies you want to bribe your mother-in-law with. You can use the energy of the altar to bless anything you'd like. I do want to note that you do not need to make an altar with a specific deity if that is not your thing. You can also make an altar to invoke ideas and states of consciousness, such as an altar to love, an altar to ascension, even an altar to money and success. However you decide to use the altar, it is up to you and your unique spirituality. If you do decide to make one, it really is a beautiful practice which can help you to connect deeper to your inner divinity. Okay, so let's dive into altar making. You can make an altar indoors or outdoors. Making an altar outdoors is also a very beautiful way to connect with the goddess, and especially with the spirits of the land. This can be quite a fun and spontaneous experience, which needs no special or expensive materials. You can use what is there right in the environment: rocks, shells, twigs, flowers, feathers, pine cones, even the dirt. It is one way of practicing the knowing that God or goddess is everywhere. Outdoor altars have a sense of impermanence to them. They are as changing as the earth. Now for this video, I will be addressing indoor altars, as that is a really beautiful way to bless the home. Step 1. Choose a space. To begin, you want to choose a space for your altar. This should be a flat surface somewhere that is clean and tidy. This is your strong foundation. You'll also want to choose a place with a moderate temperature, as too much heat can damage the things on your altar. Altar placement really depends on what you desire to do with the altar and your lifestyle. Will you be putting plants on your altar? Then perhaps you might want to position your altar near a window. Do you want to meditate at your altar? Then perhaps you might want to place it on a low table that you can sit at. Do you have naughty pets or children? In which case, you may want to place the altar someplace out of reach. Is the altar for blessing the home? Is it something you wish to share with others publicly? Then you might want to place it somewhere central in the home, such as in the family room or dining room. Perhaps you would like to keep the altar private for your personal spiritual practice. Now, if that's the case, you might put it in your room or study. Consider that Wherever you are placing the altar, you are creating a vortex of energy that will affect the space. Think about what works best for you and let your intuition guide you. For me, I decided to place my altar higher up away from our pets and near a window. The spot is central in the house, and so I get to walk by and see the altar every day. Step 2. Lay the foundation. This step is pretty simple. Just make sure that the space is clean and clear. I have cleaned the surface and also cleaned the window behind it. Next, I will choose an altar cloth. This isn't necessary, but it does add a nice touch. I feel like it makes it more official. And I love the color. I use this beautiful scarf for my altar cloth. The red color speaks to me of passion, luck, and life force. The gold speaks to me of abundance, beauty, and divinity. These are all things I wish to bring into my life and home at this time. Now, traditional altar cloth colors will vary depending on the tradition. Every color brings with it its own symbolic meaning and energy. Go with what feels good for you. Step 3. Choose a centerpiece. A great way to begin to set up an altar is to choose a centerpiece. What is the main focus of your altar? Is there an aspect of God you wish to invoke? Do you like to work with a specific deity or energy? In my case, I actually wanted to put divine love at the center of our house altar. So I got this statue of two beloveds holding each other. I love the way this makes me feel, and I love what it symbolizes. This is the energy I wish to bring in to bless this home, and so it is my centerpiece. That being said, you can see that I also have two goddess figures on the altar. We are goddess fans in this house. The one goddess represents the great mother goddess of creation and of this earth. The other figure was here in the house when we moved in, so we decided to also give her a place of honor. We decided that she specifically represents Mother Africa and the spirits of the land here. By placing these figures on the altar, I am acknowledging and celebrating these goddess energies. Now, what you choose as a focal piece will be entirely up to you. Perhaps you might choose a statue of one of the goddesses. Perhaps you might want to place a picture of Jesus Christ or Buddha. Perhaps something different entirely. The most important thing when choosing a centerpiece is to ask the question, what energy of God or goddess do I wish to invoke and commune with? Step 4. Choose your notes. This is perhaps the most fun and creative part of making an altar. After you've decided the flavor and intention of your altar, it is time to start populating it with meaningful items. When you create your altar, think about the song you want to sing. What do you want to communicate to the universe? What is it that you want to bring into your life? You can use your creative mind to find something that represents that intention. On my altar, I have placed all kinds of symbolic items that resonate with the energies I wish to bring into my life. Here are some examples. I wish to bring sweetness into my life and relationship, so I have placed some of my favorite hard candies to represent sweetness. One day, while on a walk and pondering the nature of dreaming and waking, I found this marble in a very unlikely place. So, I placed it on my altar. I decided the marble represents the clarity of mind and lucidity I wish to bring into my life, as well as joyful, spontaneous magic. I thought it would be a nice addition to the altar. Now you can also creatively communicate meaning based on where you place items on the altar. I placed this window decoration with the dove on it next to the earth goddess to represent peace on earth. I also put the snake skin around the earth to represent transformation, and the Ouroboros, the self-consuming, self-regenerating aspect of creation. It is my way of saying, I intend for this world to transform. Now I could go on and on about everything on the altar, but you get the point. Every single thing placed on the altar has been placed with care. Every item means something to me. Many traditional altars will have a representation of the 4 elements. Not only do these serve as offerings to the divine, but the elements also correspond to the realms of yourself. Water corresponds to the realm of your emotions and intuition. Air is the realm of mind and ideas. Fire is the realm of your will, action, and creative life force. Earth is the realm of your physicality and material matters. By placing each of the elements here, I am saying each of the realms of my being are blessed by the divine. The divine lives in them and keeps them in balance. The elements also correspond to the suits of the tarot. Tarot, originally created as a divinatory card game, cleverly represents the journey of divinity through its various stages of awakening. I wanted to mention it briefly because placing tarot or oracle cards from your favorite deck onto your altar is another simple and effective way to create meaning and invoke energy. It is said that if one desires something in this world, then one should learn to give it. And, like a mirror, the world will reflect that gift back. That is unity. Through altar making, you can not only ask for blessings from the divine, but give blessings to the divine. In fact, in many traditions around the world, it is customary to leave offerings on the altar, whether that be to gods and goddesses, to the fairy and nature spirits, or to one's ancestors. In this way, spiritual practitioners cultivate a reverent relationship with spirit. Offerings vary based on the tradition and the aspect of the divine. Some potential offerings include incense, fresh flowers, jewelry, herbs and spices, alcohol, tobacco, honey, chocolate, milk, and fruit. Some traditions even specially prepare dishes for the altar. For example, a traditional way to honor Oshun is to hollow out a pumpkin and fill it with honey, flowers, and spices like cinnamon. It looks and smells beautiful. Of course, you don't need to be fancy. I often like to simply leave a piece of chocolate as an offering for the goddess. During the Day of the Dead, I even leave a beer on the altar in honor of my deceased grandfather. If you do choose to leave food offerings, just keep in mind your environment. Sometimes food offerings are not viable for places that have issues with bugs and rodents, or if there are pets and children around. If you live in a warm climate, your offerings will go off quicker. All that being said, I think leaving offerings is a really wonderful way to keep the altar alive. On a deeper level, being a source of blessing is a wonderful way to be in touch with your own divine nature. In doing so, you might discover that the same divinity which pours out blessing into this world lives within you. You and that being really are one. As I mentioned before, you can also place items on your altar that you wish to bless and keep bathed in the energy of the altar. If you are into ritual magic, an altar is a great place to keep your magical tools, such as wands, chalices, and athems. Even if you aren't into ritual magic, you can bless anything that is meaningful to you. For example, your writing pen, your vitamins, your wallet, your lucky pair of socks, or the magic mushrooms you planned on eating on your day off. You can even bless your loved ones by placing photos of them on the altar. My mother likes to do that. One last thing worth mentioning is that it is important to care for your altar. While there is no wrong way to create an altar, there are some simple principles to keep in mind if you wish to keep the altar effective and the energy fresh. 1. Keep the altar clean and beautiful. That may mean you have to dust every once in a while, change the flowers, or reorganize. And 2. Don't place anything on the altar that may have a poor symbolic meaning for you. For example, spoiled food or a bouquet of dead flowers is probably not ideal for an altar. I also want to say that your altar need not be static. Feel free to change it up every once in a while if you feel called to. Your altar is a reflection of your spiritual journey and relationship to God. It will shift and change as you do. And that's it. That's altar making. I know that was a ton of information, so if you're new to altar making, please don't feel stressed. Altar making can be as complex or simple as you'd like it to be. Placing even a single intentional candle is enough to make an altar. What matters most is that the altar feels nourishing to you, that it inspires and invokes within you the feeling of sacredness. You can let your heart lead the way. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope I have offered you some valuable information and that you're inspired to experience altar making for yourself. May it be a practice that nourishes and inspires you. May the magical energies of the altar permeate through your life and carry you up to greater and deeper experiences of consciousness. May it help you to remember yourself. I love you all with the heart of oneness. Goodbye.